Good afternoon, folks. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. I'm Steve Gregorian, President and CEO of the Detroit Economic Club. Welcome to today's special meeting. It's a big birthday year for the Detroit Economic Club, 90 years of incredible speakers and networking, and that tradition continues today. Especially want to welcome our DEC members. If you're not a member yet, just give me 10 seconds to convince you. Your next job, client, prospect, or maybe best friend is right in this room. If you want to build your network and learn from our thought leaders, we invite you to invest in you and join today. And you can do that right on our website, econclub.org. In fact, if you want to sign up today, we'll sweeten the pot. On your way out, stop by our registration, and we will give you a free event ticket you can use all the way through the end of the year. As we get started, I would ask you just take a moment and silence your cell phones. I do want to make a special note. If you were with us last week when we hosted Donald Trump, I can promise you today we'll get back to on time every time. And if you've been with us before, you know we always get started with a pledge and a prayer. So I invite you to stand and join me as we honor our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And kindly remain standing. Our invocation today will be delivered by Reverend Bill Danaher from Christ Church, Cranbrook.
Thank you so much. If you would please let me do a point of personal privilege, and I just would like to thank these wonderful university leaders that we have. This past year has been such a difficult time for university leadership, and I am just truly proud and honored to be with you all today. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for standing in the fire and sitting in the fire as you all have had to do. I have three prayers today. All three go with the grain of this meeting. The first is for researchers, the second is for universities, and the third is for our nation. They're all brief, you'll be pleased to know. Now, in my tradition, I say, the Lord be with you. You say, and also with you. I say, let us pray, and then I pray, and then I say, amen. You ready? The Lord be with you. Let us pray. For researchers, eternal God, whose will is good and gracious, and whose Spirit leads us into all truth, enlarge the minds of those seeking new discoveries, that good may come to them. Enlarge their hearts, that good may be done by them. Enliven their wills, that good may be the course of their life. Each day they rise, each night they lie down. Give them strength to keep faith, hope in new discoveries, love for their work, and joy in your creation as they build a better world. Amen. And now for schools and universities. All-knowing God, bless all schools, colleges, and universities, and especially Wayne State University, Michigan State University, and the University of Michigan, that they may be lively centers for sound learning, discovery, and the pursuit of wisdom. Grant that those who teach and those who learn may find in the part they play the harmony of all wisdom that lives in you. And then finally, for our nation. Almighty God, bless our land with honorable industry, sound learning, good government, and peaceful civil life. Save us from violence, disaster, and confusion. Save us from pride, arrogance, and mistrust. Defend our liberties and shape into one united people the many kindreds and tongues that live on this land. Grant wisdom to those who govern, that there may be justice and peace at home, and that we may be a witness to the nations. In times of prosperity, fill our hearts with thankfulness, and in days of trouble, strengthen our faith, All this we ask in your mighty name. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. All right, a couple of thank yous. I want to say thanks to WJR, who's doing their focus show live right outside this room. And thanks to WDIV Local 4, Lawrence Technological University, and Detroit PBS for live streaming today's meeting. You know we love to have students here. They're here today and always, courtesy of our generous corporate sponsors. I want to let you know who is with us. Please hold your applause. We've got a group of students from Hazel Park High School, thanks to Wayne State University. Got a group from Schoolcraft College, thank you to Fifth Third Bank. Cody High School, thanks to Accenture. St. Catherine of Siena Academy, thanks to the Michigan Association of State Universities. And the Manugian School in Southfield, thanks to Optech. Please give the students a round of applause to welcome them and thank their sponsors. Super quick, couple things on your table. Always want to comment on our corporate sponsors and partners. We would not be here if it wasn't for their generosity and support. Thank you if you're part of that group. If you'd like to join that group, there's amazing benefits. Would love to talk to you about that. Also on your table, season lineup. Okay, October's been super busy so far, and we've got a couple more to go. Next Tuesday, October 22nd, we host Liz Cheney and John Carl. So get your tickets before that one sells out. Tons more on our website, tons more to come. All right, I mentioned 90 years of speakers that tell the history of our great country. Our dear URC presidents, you now join a distinguished list of 23 others who graced our stage on this day, October 15th, and it is a highlight reel. 1951, Harlan Hatcher, the U of M president. 1974, this date, Clifton Wharton, the Michigan State president. And of course, October is political season. So 1976, then Democratic candidate Jimmy Carter was at the DEC. 1991, Ross Perot. And when debates were more frequent, 2002, the DEC hosted the gubernatorial debate with Granholm and Posthumous. 2018, senatorial debate with Debbie Stabenow and John Janes. And this one, I remembered in 2020 on this date, during the pandemic, we were doing Zoom events. We were pleased to virtually host Sal Khan from the Khan Academy. And what I remember most about that is I'm conducting the Zoom, I'm interviewing Sal. Now picture this, the fire alarm goes off in our office. And we pause, we look at each other, and Sal says, well, geez, Steve, if I see you sweating too much because of the heat, maybe we can reschedule this for some other time. Thanks a lot, Sal. So that was great, but we're pleased to add you all today as our 24th through 26th speakers in DEC history. Congratulations, and thanks for being with us. And finally, we want you to use your smartphone to be involved in the program. We want you to take lots of photos, and you can put those on social media. You can also submit a question for the presidents using the QR code on your table. And those questions are going to go to our presiding officer, who is about to go to work. Rania Cruz is the president and CEO of Optech, co-founder of Digital Lakes. She is a DEC board member, amazing supporter of the DEC and me personally. She does so much for many people in the state of Michigan, especially young people. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rania Cruz.
Thank you, Steve, and good afternoon, DEC members and guests. It is my distinct honor to introduce today's guest. Dr. Kimberly Andrews Aspie is the 13th president of Wayne State University. She is the first woman to serve in this role in the institution's history. President Aspie previously served as provost and senior vice president for academic affairs at the University of Texas at San Antonio. President Aspie received her undergraduate degree in psychology from Rice University and her MA and PhD in clinical neuropsychology from the University of Houston. Dr. Kevin Guskowitz, it's a tongue twister, is a neuroscientist and academic leader who assumed the presidency of Michigan State University on March 4th, 2024. He previously served as Chancellor of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and is nationally recognized expert on sports-related concussions. His research team's groundbreaking work influenced concussion guidelines in the NFL and the NCAA. He earned a bachelor's degree in athletic training from the Westchester University, master's in exercise physiology, athletic training from the University of Pittsburgh, and a doctorate in sports medicine from the University of Virginia. Dr. Santa Ono is the 15th president of the University of Michigan. He began a 5-year term on October 14, 2022. At the University of Michigan, he is a professor of ophthalmology and visual sciences and microbiology and immunology in the medical school and molecular and cellular and developmental biology in the College of Literature, Sciences, and the Arts. He joined University of Michigan from the University of British Columbia, where he served as president and vice chancellor. He earned his BA in biological sciences from the University of Chicago and a PhD in experimental medicine from McGill University in 1991. Our moderator today is a familiar face to all. He is a DEC board member, Matt Elliott. Please give a warm welcome. Detroit Edison Club welcome the President Apsey, President Guskowitz, and President Ono and Matt Elliott to the stage.
The URC is a dynamic organization that brings together 3 world-class research universities, advocates for them, tells the story, and connects us with people within the state and beyond our state borders.
The URC is the driving force behind Michigan's talent pipeline, research, innovation, and services.
It's all about collaboration, taking these 3 great universities that bring unique talent and expertise to the table. But imagine what we can do when we work together to solve some of the world's greatest challenges.
There are so many industries where Michigan leads nationally and globally. Certainly the mobility space, but also harnessing exciting new platforms like artificial intelligence and machine learning, but also being at the cutting edge of sustainability, healthcare, and agriculture. The state of Michigan grants more medical degrees than any other region in the United States. We have so much talent produced from these 3 universities.
The URC universities have a presence in all 83 of Michigan's counties, impacting lives and delivering services statewide. Last year, our universities contributed nearly $24 billion to Michigan's economy.
We have an opportunity to attract business partners and new companies that would come to Michigan.
And the university presidents are eager to collaborate and also to benefit Michiganders through these collaborations.
Well, Rania, thank you for that great introduction, and I'll add my welcome to the Detroit Economic Club, Presidents Ono, Espy, and Guskowitz. Thank you for being here. I think it's a testament to AI that we were able to triangulate all 3 of your calendars to get you in one place at one time at the same time. We're really glad to be able to talk today about the University Research Corridor and how important it is to the state and frankly the world. To prep for today, I did a little bit of research and I came across a study from the Walton Foundation that really talks about research universities being a superpower in the United States economically, because they prepare and create human capital. They drive a lot of the basic research that gets done in this country, a lot of which becomes commercialized, and then they also anchor the places that they're located. And you organizations certainly do those things very, very well. And we're at a unique moment right now with all 3 of the organizations, plus what's going on in the world and in the state. We've got tremendous economic challenges, or at least dynamism, I should say. We have lots of technological change that's going on, as well as some demographic challenges here in the state. So, I'll just go right down the list here. If we can start with you, Kevin. Talk a little bit about how you see the University Research Corridor helping drive the state's economy forward, and what maybe MSU is doing as part of that.
Great. Well, first of all, Matt, thanks for doing this today, and it's great to be here. We've got to be a talent magnet, as I like to say, to be a talent activator, and that means collectively these three great Research One universities. We bring incredible talent, unique talent on each of our campuses with world-class faculty and researchers, and collectively, the impact that we will have is going to be much greater than that of the sort of sum of the individual parts. And I think that we've identified some key areas around AI, sustainability, advanced manufacturing, life sciences, and we bring expertise around this. And we now have to take it to the next level. We had a wonderful meeting just about 2 months ago, and we're going to reimagine what the URC will be in the future, and how we'll help to drive the economy of Michigan and the region here, and in some of these areas, advanced manufacturing being one of those I'm most excited about, and the health sciences with some of the incredible partnerships that we have at Michigan State with Henry Ford Health and other parts of the state over in Grand Rapids with Corwell Health. So a lot of opportunity, but we're going to do this together as a partnership.
That's great. Well, Kimberly, it's a home game for you. Thank you for inviting us to the neighborhood. Tell us a little bit about how you see Wayne contributing to the URC.
Yeah, sure. So it is a very exciting time to be here in Detroit for all three of us, right? And when you think about what's happening here in Detroit, that's really a reflection of what's happening all over Michigan. It's a particularly exciting time. We've really leaned in at the URC to these 4 areas for a couple of reasons. First of all, it takes advantage of Michigan's natural assets, whether it's the natural resources that Michigan is so blessed, whether it's the people of Michigan, the innovators, the creators who have been such a part of our story here, but it's also about the future. When you think about AI and how it's going to transform not only what we're doing today, but tomorrow in ways that we can't envision. This is what the URC is about. And it is about research and economic development in our faculty, but it's also about our students. Because each of us, if you add us up together in rough numbers, it's about 125,000 students each year at our institutions who are joining the workforce, primarily at Wayne State. 8 out of every 10 stay here in Michigan. But we also attract folks, right? And so it's growing Michigan together that really matters.
Santa, what's your perspective?
I'm excited about this group of presidents. We've been able to work together this year very intensively. And I want to just give a shout out to those that went before us. URC has been around for some time, and we've had some great presidents here in Michigan. And I'm very excited because I'd say this past year we have really rolled up our sleeves. We have a common vision. We really want to be greater than the sum of our parts as 3 different institutions. We all believe that we have a responsibility to the welfare of this city and this state, and we have focus, we have vision, and we have commitment. We're going to spend a lot of time to make sure that we bring together the researchers and the students so that they can learn from each other, collaborate between institutions, between disciplines, and that's what we owe the citizens of Michigan, to create intellectual property, to create spin-off companies, to ensure that they stay here in Michigan so that we create jobs, and also that we are a magnet for other companies that will want to move towards the talent that we produce.
You really raise a great point about driving and being responsible to the state of Michigan. But what's also interesting is that you all 3 came from different places in North America. I mean, you came from Vancouver by way of Cincinnati, you're from Texas, and you came from North Carolina. Sticking with you, Santa, tell us a little bit about how you view Michigan relative to the other places that you have worked and served, and how you see maybe some strengths and some weaknesses here in the state.
I would say that they're very different places, Cincinnati and Vancouver and Michigan. Of the 3 places, I would say in terms of the volume of research, by far, Michigan has the most, as you heard. It's a national leader, global leader in research because of all 3 of the institutions. So in terms of fundamental, innovation, creativity, output, and also the size of the talent pool that we create, Michigan is far superior than those other places, as much as I love them. And Kim is also from Cincinnati, so it's not a knock on those places.
Totally okay to pick on Ohio in this room.
But I'll tell you that what's happening here is we have everything that's needed to hypercharge what we do in terms of the innovation economy. So the basis here, the intellectual firepower is here, we're coming together, and we owe it to Michiganders to do so.
Yeah, well, that's really great. Kimberly, you came here from San Antonio, right?
Did.
And one of the things that makes Wayne so unique is it's an urban serving institution. So talk to us a little bit about what that means for you and how you see that driving us forward.
I will, and to pick up on the things that Santa was saying, one of the things that's similar in some ways between Texas and Michigan is that the universities occupy their own space. And by together, when you put them together, they can do something greater than each of those sum of those parts. You're right, Wayne State is the urban serving institution. We're a public research institution who's committed to our community. We're in this city, we work for this city, but the way we do it is by linking arms and co-creating that future. But when you add together the R1, the land grant, and together, you can do different things. One of the things we did in Texas quite a bit, which is what we're doing at the URC, is leveraging those individual strengths, bringing them together around common problems. You may lead one big center and we're the partners. You may do the other and then we're the partners. And then Wayne State leads some of these too, right? Because if you focus on your strengths, and bring together your partners that add value, you can do so much more than you can do alone. Now, one of the things that's a little different, and coming from the Midwest, I think I can say this, and I've said this in a couple of different places, is that Michigan has so many assets and talents, and we've got to talk about it more. Texas is very good at bragging, sometimes about nothing. I will tell you, as someone who's lived there. And we can be a little bit more forthright about the strengths that we have, that we bring to the table, that are special and that are solving the nation's problem, that's a leader for a path forward. And to me, that's what is the special opportunity about the URC.
That is fantastic, Kevin. You and I have spoken a little bit about how Michigan State, we contend, I say we because I'm an MSU grad, but we can tend to be a little Midwest humble, right? We talked about that earlier today. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're really proud about that are going on, not just at MSU, but that are part of the University Research Corridor's focus on those 4 areas.
Yeah, so go green, I can say that?
Go white.
Okay, great. First of all, I come from North Carolina there for many years, and everybody talks about Research Triangle Park. It was a great opportunity. It's coming up on about 65, 70 years old now. And, but it was a big parcel of land, and it was sort of linked to certain industries over time. IBM was there for many years. Then the pharma industry showed up with Pfizer and other companies, and now they're sort of reimagining themselves. And I think we have an opportunity to do this. As Kim said, we don't have a big parcel of land for the URC, but we've got all this incredible work being done on each of the campuses. One of the things I'm really excited about is that all 3 of these great R1s, research ones, have strong engineering and health sciences. And then we bring in our ag bio work at Michigan State with some of the other work that's being done in sort of mobility, which crosses all 3 of the schools. And so I'm excited about those opportunities. In the health space, we have just been renewed on an NIH grant, a big NIH grant that's helping us to look at environmental influences on health outcomes for children, and this is going to have an impact, the outcomes of this, not only here in Michigan, but across the country, what we'll learn from this. The work that's being done in and around artificial intelligence, the way that's going to help us to drive the automobile industry forward. Was with Bill Ford just recently, in fact, you were there. And one of the things that resonated with me that he said was that everybody's worried that AI is going to replace jobs. I liked his point on this. He said, no, we are responsible, the universities, and he looked at me and he said, Michigan State, we're counting on you and Michigan and Wayne State to retool the workforce. It shouldn't be replacing jobs and careers, but we have to retool and reimagine what is needed. We are going to help solve those challenges around AI, and again, I could go on, but I think the work we're doing around mobility and with the automobile industry, I know that he's counting on us, and the other car manufacturers here in the Detroit area are certainly counting on us.
Yeah, we're all counting on that because that's going to be critical for the state's future and certainly the city's future. Let's pivot a little bit. You know, the Reverend talked about during his invocation the fact that, you know, we have had, the university presidents, all three of you have had to answer some really difficult challenges these days about what's going on in the world and really having to strike the right balance between free speech and civility in some cases, which is a very, very difficult thing to do. And all three of you have had maybe a different set of circumstances to deal with. You know, President Ono, I'll start with you. You know, tell us how you've, as someone who's been has to deal with that day to day, tell us how that calculus works for the University of Michigan.
Before I answer that question, and I will answer the question, I want to start off by just saying that beyond the URC, for us to thrive as an economy, we need the entire ecosystem. And there's a lot of people in this room, a lot of schools. Ora Pescovitz with Oakland University is here. There are community colleges, and we are one part of the system, but it's everyone in this room, all the institutions that have to come together. We have to think about articulation between institutions. We have to think about how we might be able to transfer credit from one to another. And we need to just think about the entire sort of portfolio of educational initiatives that we make available in Detroit and throughout the entire state. And what's exciting is that we're all looking at what we can do in Detroit. So I just wanted to say that, you know, this is a focus on URC, but we are part of a larger ecosystem. And that connectivity is just as important as the connectivity between us. Your question was about the challenges that exist. I view them as opportunities. You know, the world has been through, and our institutions have been through many challenging times. This is not the first. University of Michigan has been around for over 2 centuries, and it's become better through these challenging times. It's just like life, you know. If you go through and you show grit and you become better and you think about your values and how you actually bring together and bridge differences of opinion, and you teach civil discourse, then you enrich the institution, but you also enrich the lives of the students. This is really an educational activity. And I grow every day because I hear from students that may not agree with me. And so it's not the kind of answer you wanted, but I think the onus is on all of us to take these challenging moments, to sometimes step backwards and think, what can we do as an educational institution differently to take this challenging moment and make it an opportunity? Because those students, whatever they believe, are going to leave, and they're going to remember what happened. And so hopefully that answers your question. And for that reason, the last thing I'll say is this is the year of democracy, civic empowerment, and global engagement at the institution. We're all doing everything we can to create new spaces to have those difficult conversations. And if there's anything we owe our students, it is an opportunity to take a situation like this and create and innovate new ways of teaching so that they come away and be citizens for our democracy.
I think that's really well said. I think, if I remember correctly, this is the year when over half of the world's population votes for their leaders. And so it's really important for us to be, you know, collectively, to be able to have a civil discussion around the future of the organization or of the nation. You mentioned ecosystem. Let's talk a little bit about the Detroit ecosystem and the ecosystem that is rapidly being built here. And Kimberly, I'll ask you to start us off because really a lot of the renaissance of Detroit started in Midtown, started around Wayne State. So if you can give us a little bit of color from your perspective about how you see the three of you working together as Detroit's ecosystem continues to evolve and expand.
Yeah, you are so right about Midtown being the kind of seed and kernel that has grown into something truly remarkable. And it's so nice to see that happening neighborhood after neighborhood after neighborhood in Detroit. And each of us are contributing to that exact dynamism. You know, for Wayne State in particular, we do have the benefit of being in the heart of Midtown and to being here since 1868, right? And where I see the opportunities is really about linking the great ideas that come from our faculty, from our students, because it's really our students who carry that future. It's typically our students who take what they're learning in the classroom and put in the sweat equity to develop a startup. It's our students who can, quite frankly, live on ramen while they're trying to earn money, right, to get that startup to go, right? And so when I think about the opportunity for us, it's how do we be intentional about spawning those ideas into entities that then can accelerate and thrive. And each of us brings somewhat of a different lens. For us at Wayne State, for example, we work with our faculty and have a robust technology commercialization and support arm. But we also have a community-based approach in our tech town that works with community-based businesses. Some mom and pop who have an idea for a barbershop or a new restaurant. So when we think about economic development, each of those strategies needs to come together because 60% of new businesses are small business, right? And so it's, especially for this audience, you know that, it's important to be spawning and supporting those businesses as well. But the neat thing is, between the three of us, we really play at different parts and can contribute to Detroit and to continue for it to thrive and hum.
Yeah, and let's drill into that a little bit. And by the way, Ned and his team at Tech Town are amazing. So
indeed, some of my colleagues are right over there. I'll give them a shout out.
We're glad they're here. Kevin, let's talk a little bit about some investments you're making just next door, in the Fisher Building and also the partnership with Henry Ford. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect from that and how you see that helping to support the ecosystem here in Detroit.
Yeah, so again, if you think about, going back to your question, and I'll get to this one, but 1860 to about 1920, what happened in Detroit? I mean, it was about innovation. It was, the revolution that took place in this region. I mean, it was sort of the hub, if you think about us as a nation. And so we want to be sure that we stay true to that, that every institution has a, has a role for this region. The Henry Ford Health MSU Health Sciences partnership is going to be a game changer for us. We've been, looking for, ways in which we can produce more healthcare providers across the state. And so we have two medical colleges on our campus: Osteopathic Medicine, College of Human Medicine, a nursing school that's on the rise and moving. We put more nurses out, graduated last year, than just about any other institution in the Midwest. And so that partnership with Henry Ford is going to be important. We've got the Fisher Building, which Michigan State University owns, and it's going to provide a lot of opportunity with that Henry Ford partnership, and the new about 360,000 square foot research building that's going to allow us to advance our research and clinical work in neurofibromatosis, a rare disease that Nick Gilbert sadly passed away, and the Gilbert Family Foundation is passionate about this work. The work we're going to do in cancer, as being designated as a cancer research center, National Cancer Research Center, it's going to be great for the region. It's going to be, in terms of advancing the research, will be a game changer. But we're also doing work in other areas. We have our MSU Apple Developer Academy, which is over on the other side of town, but which we're looking to bring probably closer over to that region. This is about retooling the workforce in a way that through a partnership with Apple, and this is we're I think in third or fourth year that it's going great. So many different ways in which we want to have a presence here. We want to be sure that Spartan flag is hanging not just off the Fisher Building, but in other parts of the region here. And if you haven't had a chance, check out our community music school, which is also, we have an outstanding College of Music at Michigan State, and it's going to continue to have an even greater presence here.
I want to put a pin in the health sciences education piece of this. So every year, these three organizations produce about 2,500 healthcare graduates, from doctors to nurses, you name it. That is more than any other cluster in the nation by like 1,000. So this is a real huge powerhouse in terms of creating human capital in health sciences. Let's continue the thought about ecosystem. So as I was driving over here, I drove by the site of your new innovation center that's part of the District Detroit. And so maybe you can talk a little bit about how you see that working. I mean, the University of Michigan is well known for tech transfer, for commercializing technology. So how do you see that working here in the city of Detroit?
Well, I'm going to start a little bit earlier than that. I'm very excited about the University of Michigan Center for Innovation in Detroit. It's true, it's coming out of the ground. It's going to be an iconic building, and I'm excited that it's across from Tech High School. And so I'm going to start a little bit earlier than that. I think that the university, in addition to doing groundbreaking research and training, there'll be a whole slew of degrees that are going to be actually delivered there on that site.
That's great.
And we have plans beyond that initial investment, as you probably know. But I want to start a little bit earlier. I talked about the importance of Tech, but we also have, as another part of our investment in Detroit, a significant investment in what used to be Mary Grove College. And if you haven't been there, go there, and you can see with the investment of Kresge and the University of Michigan, a complete revitalization of that campus to be part of the ecosystem. To really elevate Detroit and Metro Detroit, we need to, as an institution, through the Marcel Family School of Education, have an impact on education in Detroit. And that's part of our strategy. And so you'll see from prenatal to kindergarten, K through 12, our own students and faculty actually on that campus. That's our commitment to the ecosystem. It's not just the research and the graduate education that are going to be at the University of Michigan Center for Innovation in Detroit. The UMCI, we're excited about it because we are already embedded in the community. Our inaugural director, Scott Shireman, who's right there, who we recruited from Coursera. Let's hear it for Scott. Has been very busy connecting with all the businesses in the region. We're working with business leaders of Michigan. And I want to say really clearly that the business leaders of Michigan are really motivated and focused on the innovation economy and the ecosystem. So that's critical. You need the universities, you need K through 12, you need the partnerships with other R1s, other educational institutions, but you also need the business community integrated into that whole innovation ecosystem. And what's amazing is that everyone is at the table now.
That is fantastic. So you are in front of a business group. So last question for both of you. We never leave a call, we never leave a meeting without homework. That's one of the rules in business. So you've given us some homework, which is to help partner and to help drive innovation. Kimberly, what would you give this group in terms of homework?
Yeah, well, I would say one thing we could maybe do a little bit better, or that's an opportunity for us in the near-term future. When you think about the innovation ecosystem, small businesses go through a very predictable path. They have an idea, you need to incubate them, oftentimes that's what's called the valley of death, and then you accelerate their growth. I think there are opportunities for our city to be a little bit more intentional about how we think about that pathway. That looks different in a life science company than it might in a company using AI. And harnessing us as well as the state, I think we can think about how do we tailor some of our supports and have incubators versus accelerators and the whole network to be able to grow that to a greater degree. So I would charge everyone to think a little bit about that and how do we marshal our resources to be a little bit more intentional and a little bit more organized now that we have us all working together.
That is fantastic. Kevin, we've got 1 minute left.
Yep. So, great question. And some of you have heard me say this before, but our students right now are graduating, in 2024, 2025, but they're going to be retiring from their careers around the year 2074 or 2075. Retiring. Think about that. What jobs and careers are going to exist then? What are the workforce needs of today and tomorrow that we as university leaders need to be preparing those graduates for? A recent article in Forbes suggested that employers are firing Gen Z employees, new employees, very rapidly because they lack some of the soft skills that are necessary. We have to prepare them with the soft skills and the hard skills, whether it's in AI, machine learning, whatever that may be, changes in the healthcare industry, the banking industry. So I'm proud I announced at my investiture 2 weeks ago we're going to start a Green and White Council, and Matt, thank you because you're going to be joining me on that. That's going to help us go out to business leaders, out to industry leaders, different sectors, healthcare, banking, finance, automobile industry, to help us better understand what we're missing. What is it that we can be doing better to prepare that workforce for those careers and those jobs? So I'm excited that we'll be, and I know I speak for my colleagues, that they're up for this. It's our responsibility to do this.
5 seconds. For all of you out there, whether you're a student or you're a business, for this to work, you need to feel completely comfortable. Don't be shy. There's a big welcome mat in front of the URC. We welcome you. We want to partner with you. At Mackinac Island, there was a couple CEOs of major companies said, Santa, you can really help us, not me, but the university, because you have all this technology, and we need a competitive advantage. So my encouragement to all of you, don't be shy. Look to us. Look to the URC. We can be your competitive advantage. And with that, Michigan will rise.
Hear, hear.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well, we know we have lots of questions, and Rania is going to help moderate some questions that came from all of you. So, Rania, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, that was amazing. You okay? All right. Wonderful. So we got a lot of questions here, and I'm just going to ask them, and if anybody wants to chime in and answer it, feel free. Universities and the whole education system has been disrupted. And a lot of smaller colleges and universities are really struggling with enrollment. So do you think that a consolidation of schools will occur?
Who wants to jump on that one?
I mean, let me just say this. One of the things I'm proud of, and again, I'm in month 8 right now, but I've spent a lot of time looking at what enrollment for the future should look like, not just at MSU, but at other universities in the Midwest. And you know, we have to, again, I mentioned earlier, be a talent, you know, attractor, to be, you know, a magnet to be a talent activator. And I think that we all have a responsibility. The governor's talked about grow Michigan together. That's going to help. I don't know that we need a consolidation, but I love the fact that we bring in a lot of transfer students at Michigan State, and they actually have higher graduation rates, about 92, 93%, than what our overall graduation rate is. So we've got to continue to find those opportunities to welcome those into other schools whenever they, you know, our institutions, whenever that opportunity presents.
Yeah, and I'd like to add something relative to our particular mission. First of all, when you look at Michigan's demographics, it certainly is true that if you look over the horizon, the number of students who are graduating high school does have a dip for a while. But if at the same time you look at the number of students who stopped out, who started college and didn't finish, there's a whole heck of a lot of those. And when you think of the needs relative to our economy, plus those who are currently working and could benefit from some additional skills to get that promotion, to be ready for that next job, there's an opportunity for our universities to really serve people. Universities have been around for 1,000 years. Why is that? I mean, that's longer than most institutions, save a couple of churches probably. They do that because they continuously reinvent themselves. So one of the things from the pandemic has taught us that we can do things a little differently. We can meet students where they are, regardless of what their other obligations are. I like to say we can make it so they can fit school around life, rather than life being their school like it is when you're 18. And I think the pandemic has really shown us that we can do that, and by listening to your point with that welcome mat, I think we can do that even more. So I don't look at this as a zero-sum game, but rather let's open up the aperture and welcome different folks who haven't always participated in higher education.
You know, I talked about Marygrove College and the fact that it actually closed because of enrollment decreases, and it's full of life again. And so you can view it as consolidation, or you can view it as evolution. It is thriving now, and it's beautiful that it's thriving now. I would say the other opportunity for us, and this is for the presidents and the leadership and the regents and the boards of these institutions, are to really ask the question, why are so many of our high school age students, even though the numbers are going down, not choosing colleges and universities? What does that mean? And how might we consider changing so we're viewed as a place that they want to go? And that in a greater scheme, what can we do so that the American public understands the significance and the relevance of what we teach in our institutions. I think if we do that through listening and through innovating, you'll find many of the people not choosing universities, choosing universities. And I can tell you that if you look at our Flint campus, where enrollment was going down for several years, over the past 2 years, enrollment has gone up sharply, especially this past year. It's because the leadership and the faculty, that community really sat down and thought, what is it that the students want to study? And they made some tough decisions, supported by the regents, to really focus on programs that people wanted to study. And that has resulted in an enrollment upturn. And so we've got to do that kind of thing more often.
Okay, we have a lot of questions here, so I would love to hear from all of you. Very brief response, if you will, please. So we have a major population crisis here in Michigan, and what we're finding is that typically a lot of individuals are leaving the state, specifically from the University of Michigan, Michigan State. Wayne State does a really good job of retaining the talent. What are you doing to help with this crisis with the state of Michigan?
So I'll start. The governor asked me to be on the Grow Michigan Together Council. So if you look that up, there's specific recommendations. But a lot of it focuses on the importance of university towns. Yesterday, I was at the groundbreaking of a new facility at Histosonics. Hundreds of employees are there already. And so what we can do as an institution is to create spin-off companies that stay in Michigan so that our graduates stay here. I saw it with my own eyes yesterday. If we enhance the ability to commercialize and to create new companies and let them stay here, then more of them will stay because they go where the jobs are. That's one of the most important things that we can do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of the fact, and I know I speak for a lot of us at Michigan State, that we actually place 67% of our graduates for their first job in the state of Michigan. And but we've got to continue to do, I think, what Santa's just said, and our MSU Research Foundation invests a lot in trying to draw new companies to the region. Dave Washburn's here somewhere, but he and Jeff Smith, they do a great job. We brought Smith Tech here as just one of many examples that's providing jobs and careers for students here, graduates of Michigan State. We've got to create the opportunities, the experiential education opportunities through internships, where they, during their junior, senior year, where they want to stay and work in Michigan, and we're growing those experiential education opportunities. That's how the business communities here locally can help us create those opportunities, and they'll want to stay.
And for Wayne State, about 8 out of every 10 of our students stay here in Michigan, the vast majority in the Detroit metro area. But I will say, sometimes when we lose students, it's more about not just the first job, but thinking that I have a whole career ahead of me, and I can have, if I leave one job, I can go to another in my same field. So one of the advantages of us taking a sector approach is that people can see themselves at multiple employers despite having the same kind of job. So I think there's some opportunities, again, for us to tell our story a little bit better, to make that more clear to the 22-year-old that's trying to forecast their future, that no, you want to be here, not Chicago or New York or somewhere like that.
And we're running out of time, but this comes down to my favorite part, which is the lightning round. And I know, President Ono, you participate in this, and you're ready to go. I know that. I've seen you do it.
He's the seasoned hand.
So, in a very short response, we'll start with President Ono. What is on your bucket list?
To go to a Red Wings game.
Okay.
Oh. Hey, I did that, and I got to ride the Zamboni. It was awesome.
President Patsy.
Okay, oh geez, what's on my bucket list? I was unable to go to Mackinac, so I'm looking forward to Mackinac this next year.
Great.
I mean, I hate to follow it. I'm a lifelong Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but I want the Super Bowl this year to be the Steelers and the Lions. That's on my bucket list. Steelers and the Lions.
Okay. All right, we'll start on this end with Kevin. I wish I was better at.
Oh boy. At managing my calendar, because I want to see so many people, and there's only so many hours in a day, so.
All right, Kimberly?
Oh boy, let's see. I wish I was more athletically talented. My team teases me all the time because I make fun of throwing and things like that. So I wish I had more skill that way.
I wish I was a better Christian.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, you're very esteemed in your professions, but if you could choose another profession, what would it be?
Quarterback of the Michigan Wolverines.
Oh, I'd want to be an astronaut for sure.
Oh, my, you took mine. But I want to be a physician to cure cancer. So that's
Very honorable. You get to pick any musician or band for your private concert in your backyard for your family and friends. Who would it be?
Oh, I know. Aretha Franklin. That's easy.
Chris Stapleton.
Bruce Springsteen.
All right. Okay, what was your first job? I'm going to start with you, Kimberly.
Oh, golly. What was my first job? I worked in an amusement park making hamburgers. It was awful.
Mowing lawns.
I was a janitor.
Okay, last book that you read. They don't read.
Like, actually
You guys don't read?
Mine was at John Grisham. John Grisham's a good friend of mine, and I read Sully, which it was great.
Like read from beginning to end?
Or started and did not finish?
Oh, God, you go. I can hear you say.
I have Hillary Rodham Clinton's new biography.
Okay. Golly,
You know, we could skip
yeah, skip
you.
me.
You're allowed.
I'm having
to
brain
skip.
freeze.
That's all
You
good.
got me on that one.
Okay, since we are in Detroit, what is one word that you would describe Detroit?
Awesome.
Yeah. Hopeful, optimistic.
Innovative.
Fantastic. All right, one last question, everybody. Okay, and we have a lot of young people in the crowd, so listen up, kids, or I should say students, and 25-year-olds. Advice to your 25-year-old self.
Stay curious.
Say yes to opportunities, even though they seem funky.
Don't take life too seriously. Have fun.
All right, okay, how about a round of applause? All right, we're going to be on time. Steve is coming up next.
How about a concert with all three of those in your backyard together? We're all going to come to that, all right? All right, thank you. Kim, Santa, Kevin, thank you so much for choosing the DEC. Keep up the great works for the URC, universities, and our state. And we appreciate your DEC support as well. Thank you. Rania and Matt, outstanding job in your role. Thank you for being with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have a lot of fun saying this. On time, every time. That sounds really good today. This meeting of the Detroit Economic Club is now adjourned. Thank you.